Welcome, everyone. Before we dive in, be sure to check our previous videos, as well as drop your thoughts, feelings, and lessons in the comments. Like the video and subscribe so you never miss stories like this. Let's get into it. Johnson used to say that loving Aaliyah made the world look softer. On Sunday mornings in their Chicago apartment, she hummed old R&B while flipping pancakes, and he moved behind her, arms circling her waist, cheek resting against her curls. They were that couple friends envied. Inside jokes, matching sneakers, whispered prayers before meals. They talked about joint savings, kids in a few years, and a small house with a yard. When he looked at her, he saw not just a girlfriend, but the future he had begged God for after a rough childhood. Aaliyah loved him back with a steady, intentional warmth. She decorated their space with framed photos from road trips, sticky notes of encouragement on the bathroom mirror, and a little "you got this, baby" text before every big meeting. Johnson worked in marketing downtown, grinding for a promotion, while she handled HR at a hospital. At night, they lay side by side, phones on the nightstand, planning vacations they could not yet afford. She trusted him completely. It was a trust she was like sunlight, automatic, unquestioning, almost naive. At work, Johnson was known for his easy smile and sharp ideas. When his team got a demanding new project, they also got Brianna, a transfer from another branch. Brianna was gorgeous, warm brown skin, sharp bob, a laugh that turned heads in the open office. From the beginning, she chose the desk closest his, because you actually know what you're doing. She joked a lot, leaned over his chair to read his screen, and found excuses to brush his arm when she laughed. He noticed, and it unsettled him. At first, he handled it. When she accidentally touched his leg under the conference table, he shifted away. When she lingered late and suggested drinks, just us two, to decompress, he declined, saying he had to get home to his girlfriend. "So whipped," Brianna teased, eyes narrowing slightly. He went home to Aaliyah that night feeling proud he had guarded their relationship. Still, there was a small, dangerous ego stroke in knowing someone else wanted him. He hated that he noticed. He told himself it meant nothing because he loved Aaliyah. The project grew more intense, deadlines overlapping. Johnson and Brianna spent long evenings in the office with takeout and cold coffee. She was sharp, funny, and occasionally vulnerable, talking about a messy breakup and how she hated sleeping alone. Each time the conversation turned too personal, he steered it back to work. But temptation is patient. One night, as rain tapped against the windows and the cleaning staff had already left, Brianna rolled her chair closer and said softly, "You know, if I had a man like you, I would never risk losing him." Johnson laughed it off, eyes glued to his laptop. "Well, Aaliyah's not losing me, so that's that," he replied. Brianna sighed dramatically and leaned her chin on her hand, watching him. "You're a good man," she said. Most men would have folded by now. He felt both proud and oddly cornered. The flattery seeped into the cracks of his exhaustion. When he left that night, he drove home gripping the steering wheel, reminded himself that no compliment, no moment, was worth Aaliyah's tears. Still, Brianna's words played in his head. Over the next weeks, her advances sharpened. She grazed his hand when passing files, slid a flirty text after hours, nothing explicit, but intentional. He responded with safe emojis and short answers, never encouraging, never entirely shutting it down. He told himself he was just keeping things smooth at work. When Brianna mentioned maybe finding another job because this office is too boring, a strange panic rose in him. Not panic of losing her, but fear of facing the part of himself that liked being wanted by someone other than Aaliyah. The company finally landed a major client, and Johnson's team nailed the pitch. His manager announced a small celebration in the office on Friday evening. Pizza, champagne, music from someone's Bluetooth speaker. Aaliyah had planned to cook him a special dinner, but he called to say he would be late. "We closed the deal, baby. It's kind of a big thing." She smiled through the phone, proud of him, and told him to have fun. "I'll save your plate," she said. "Come home safe." Her voice was soft, trusting. It pierced him. The celebration started innocently. People laughed, clinked plastic cups, and played old-school jams. Johnson had more champagne than he intended. shoulders relaxing as co-workers congratulated him. Brianna stayed close, laughing at his jokes, touching his forearm casually. When most people began to trickle out, she was still there, sitting on the edge of his desk. "You really did that," she said, eyes shining. "You're the reason we won this client." He shook his head, giving credit to the whole team. She watched him, something hungry in her gaze. "You never take anything for yourself," Brianna murmured, sliding off the desk and stepping into his space. The office hummed quietly, lights dimmed. "Just once, Johnson," she whispered, fingertips brushing his jaw. "Take something that's being offered to you." His heart pounded. He thought of Aaliyah's smile, her pancakes, her laughter. Then Brianna's lips were on his, soft, insistent, tasting like champagne. For a second he froze, intending to pull away. Then something in him buckled, and he kissed her back. It was brief, messy, utterly wrong. But it happened. The sound of the office door unlocking sliced through the moment. Johnson jerked back, wiping his mouth like he had been burned. Brianna stepped away, startled, smoothing her dress. Aaliyah stood in the doorway, holding a small takeout bag from his favorite Nigerian restaurant, confusion wrinkling her brow. "Surprise," she began, then stopped. Her eyes dropped to the space between them, lingering on Brianna's swollen lips. Johnson's stunned expression. The bag slipped from her hand, containers hitting the carpet with a soft, tragic thud. The scent of jollof rice filled the silence. Johnson's throat went dry. "Aaliyah, it's not," he started, stepping toward her. She held up a trembling hand, tears already gathering. "Do not," she whispered. "Do not lie to my face." Brianna tried to speak, but Aaliyah cut her a glare so cold it silenced her. In that moment, Aaliyah's world narrowed to the man she had chosen, the man she prayed for, standing there looking guilty and small. She turned on her heel and walked away, shoulders stiff. Johnson ran after her, calling her name down the hallway like a plea. He caught up with her at the elevator, grabbing her arm gently. "Baby, please listen," he begged. "She's been coming at me for months. I swear, I push her away every time. I messed up tonight, but it was a stupid moment. It meant nothing. I love you. Please don't let this ruin us." Tears spilled down Aaliyah's cheeks, anger and hurt warring in her eyes. "You let her touch what belongs to us," she choked. "You let her in. That means everything." The elevator doors opened, and she stepped inside, without looking back. The days that followed were a blur of unanswered calls and unread messages. Johnson texted long apologies, voice notes where his voice cracked, emails promising counseling, accountability, anything Aaliyah needed. She saw every message, stared at them until the words blurred, then locked her phone. At work, she functioned like a machine, polite but distant. At home, she stood in their apartment. No, her apartment now, glaring at the photos on the wall. She packed Johnson's clothes into boxes, leaving his framed degree and childhood photos leaning against the hallway. Johnson moved in temporarily with his best friend, Caleb, a software engineer he had known since middle school. Caleb listened as Johnson poured out the whole story, face pinched with disbelief. "You were wrong, bro," Caleb said. "But why was Homegirl at your job at night? Bringing food? She trusts you that much." Johnson nodded miserably. "I broke that trust." A few times, Caleb made half-joking comments about men needing to stay sharp around pretty co-workers, but he never told Johnson to cheat. Still, Aaliyah remembered every offhand joke she had heard. Months earlier, Caleb had once said at barbecue, "Office girls be hunting for husbands like it's a sport." Aaliyah had laughed it off then, but the memory resurfaced now like poison. In her pain, she started wondering, did Caleb put ideas in Johnson's head? Did he hype him up when he should have told him to run home? Her heart hardened around those questions. If Johnson had betrayed her once, she would make sure he felt that betrayal multiplied. Revenge did not come naturally to her, but heartbreak had a way of reshaping people. One evening, Aaliyah texted Caleb, asking if they could talk about Johnson. "I just need a neutral friend," she wrote. Caleb hesitated, then agreed, believing she genuinely wanted insight into her ex. They met at Aaliyah's apartment. the place still bearing traces of Johnson, his mug, his old hoodie on the chair. "How's he really doing?" she asked, eyes glistening. Caleb sighed, running a hand over his beard. "He's wrecked. Knows he messed up. I told him he has to accept whatever you decide." Aaliyah nodded, letting the words settle like a test. She poured them wine, acting soft and fragile. "I keep replaying that night," she murmured, sitting closer on the couch, feeling stupid for trusting him, for ignoring the jokes about office women. Caleb frowned. "I joked, yeah, but I would never want y'all to fall apart." She smiled sadly. "I know you're his friend first." Her leg brushed his. He shifted, uncomfortable but not moving away. The room felt oddly intimate. Dim lighting, slow music humming from a Bluetooth speaker. Aaliyah tilted her head, studying him as if seeing something new. "You're a good man, Caleb," she said softly, echoing the words Brianna had once used on Johnson. "Loyal, honest. I guess that's why it hurts more. I thought I was surrounded by men who would protect what we had." He blinked, stung. "I didn't help him cheat, Aaliyah. I told him he was wrong." She nodded, eyes watering, then let a tear slip down her cheek. Instinctively, Caleb reached out, thumb swiping the tear away. That was the opening she created. She leaned in, lips brushing his, the kiss tasting like grief. Caleb jerked back. "Aaliyah, no," he whispered, heart pounding. "This isn't right. You're hurting. Don't do this." But her eyes were blazing with a different fire. "He did it," she said, "with someone who wanted to destroy what we had. I just want to feel chosen." She kissed him again, slower, deeper, hands on the back of his neck. Conflicted, Caleb yielded, convincing himself it was a moment of shared pain, not betrayal. He had no idea she had already texted Johnson hours earlier. "We need to talk. Can you come by tonight?" Johnson drove over that night with his heart in his hands, rehearsing apologies he had already made 100 times. When he reached the apartment door, it was slightly ajar. He heard low music, soft laughter, the creak of the couch. Pushing the door open fully, he froze. Aaliyah sat straddling Caleb on the couch, their mouths locked together, her hands in his hair. Caleb's hands gripped her waist. They did not notice Johnson at first. For a moment, he could not breathe. The scene burned itself into his memory like fire. When Aaliyah finally looked up and saw him, she did not flinch. She stepped off Caleb slowly, smoothing her dress. Caleb's eyes widened in horror, color draining from his face. "Johnson, wait, this isn't," he stammered. Aaliyah cut in, voice steady, almost eerily calm. "You kissed your co-worker in front of me," she said. "I had to picture you touching her every night. Now you get to picture this. Now we're even." Her gaze was not triumphant. It was hollow, as if she had traded pieces of herself to deliver this blow. Johnson's chest felt like it was caving in. He looked at Caleb, the friend who knew his secrets, and at Aaliyah, the woman he had planned to marry. Betrayal came at him from both directions, even though he knew he had thrown the first stone. "You think this fixes it?" he asked quietly. "You think this makes what I did hurt less?" Aaliyah's chin trembled. "It makes me less powerless," she replied. Caleb buried his face in his hands. "I'm sorry," he whispered. "I never meant for this to happen. I swear." Word spread quickly through their circle. Friends who once saw Johnson and Aaliyah as a model couple now whispered about office kisses and revenge with a best friend. Some blamed Johnson entirely. Others side-eyed Aaliyah, saying she had gone too far. Caleb found himself isolated, shame pressing on his shoulders. Johnson refused to fight or explain. He moved out of Caleb's place, finding a small studio across town. He started therapy, unable to untangle the threads of guilt, anger, and loss on his own. Nights were the hardest, silence echoing too loud. Aaliyah discovered that revenge tasted different than she'd imagined. There was no rush of satisfaction, no triumphant soundtrack. Just quiet. She would lie awake, remembering Johnson's face at the door, the way he looked at her like a stranger. She told herself he deserved it, but her chest hurt whenever she passed places they had loved. The apartment felt haunted by their better days. She deleted their couple photos from social media, but kept a few prints in a box she could not bring herself to throw away. Weeks turned into months. Johnson kept his head down, worked, went to therapy, and slowly faced a man in the mirror. He admitted he had cracked under temptation, let his ego guide him, disrespected the woman he loved. He learned that an apology did not erase impact, and forgiveness, if it ever came, was not owed. But he also saw clearly what Aaliyah had chosen in response. Not distance, not boundaries, but a deliberate wound meant to humiliate him in the loudest way possible. That choice changed something in him permanently. One rainy Saturday, Aaliyah appeared at his studio door. She looked smaller somehow, eyes tired, clutching a folder with his old mail. Johnson hesitated, then stepped aside, letting her in. The place was bare, mattress on the floor, small table, a few dishes. "You really downgraded," she tried to joke, voice shaky. He shrugged. "I needed somewhere quiet." They stood there, the weight of what they had done hanging between them. Finally, she broke. "I'm sorry," she whispered. "I thought if I made you hurt like I did, I'd feel better. I don't." She sank onto the edge of his bed, tears spilling freely. "I loved you, Johnson. When I saw you with her, something inside me snapped. I felt stupid, played. I wanted you to see me as powerful, not broken. So I did the worst thing I could think of. I slept with your best friend. I made sure you'd see it. I wanted you to feel that burn every time you close your eyes." She covered her face. "It was ugly. I was ugly. But I still love you. Can we try again?" Johnson sat across from her, elbows on his knees, fingers interlocked. His voice, when he spoke, was gentle but firm. "I won't pretend I wasn't wrong first," he said. "I betrayed you. I lied to myself and to you. I'll carry that. But love that needs revenge to survive is something else entirely. You can just leave me, Aaliyah. You chose to become what hurt you. You brought my friend into it, our friends into it. You turned our pain into a public show." His eyes glistened. "I can't build a life on that." Aaliyah shook her head, sobbing now. "So that's it? After everything, you're just done?" Johnson swallowed hard. "I forgive you," he said softly. "I forgive myself too. But forgiveness is not the same as going back. I want peace more than I want us. And I need a partner who, when I fall, walks away or demands better, not someone who burns the whole room down." He stood, gently placing her keys and an old photo in her hands. As she cried, he opened the door for her and did not look back. His revenge was not another betrayal, but the quiet, unwavering choice to leave the wreckage behind. If you enjoyed this story, please like, comment, and share this video with your friends. Subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss a powerful story drop.